Right, so record.
Ray,
Yeah, record and start.
your book arrived yesterday.
Oh, did it? Good.
Yep.
Very good. Thank you very much.
So there's that one, and I sent one to a friend of mine as well, whose grandfather was at Ubon. So
Right.
Yeah, don't forget mine, Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't forget mine, but I want it signed.
I've ordered some author copies, but they take quite a long while to arrive.
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm not sure. So when I get that, I'll contact you, Ronnie, and let you know.
Yeah, we've got another one. Ray.
good morning.
Right. Yeah, we've. I've had a few come back and say they can't make it. So, but the message seemed to go out okay. So that's a bit different to Blue Jeans. I'm sending the message. I'm sending an email out to every one of our charity members to say we've got a meeting today and we'd like to see them and everything. Martin got in okay, so Martin was one of them who got the message. So yeah, we've the message seemed to go out okay, but I have to do it differently to Blue Jeans. So I had to send the link out. Yeah.
Works well.
I did put in the message that now we've got just under 100 members, which I don't want to go over for the charity one, because we just need enough to run the websites. I don't want to go much above that. So the websites, with the websites, we have got enough. Now we're not paying Blue Jeans. I asked everyone if they wanted to reduce the yearly figure to £10 or keep it at £12.50. Kevin came back and said keep it at £12.50, just in case we have anything come up. I mean, £2.50 a year isn't a lot, and I think if we keep it that way, if something does come up, we can always we've always covered it. But at the moment we're about in the bank. We're about just over 1,500, which is okay. We don't. It's just to cover ourselves. We don't want to go mad. So that's all the fees are for. Okay, and of course to cover any expenses we have. So is everyone okay? Keep it at £12.50?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Anyone says no?
Yeah, fine with that, Ronnie.
Yeah, right. So £12.50, we'll keep it at that.
No, better safe than sorry.
I think if we have
Morning,
got
Barbara.
a little bit.
Here comes Barbara.
Yeah, if it comes to the stage where we've got too much in the account, I will say to the members, look, we've got to reduce it. Okay, so at the moment we're okay. We mustn't go above 5,000, which we have got plenty of room for that. Because as a charity, we don't pay anything, or we don't have to send any books in, as long as we keep it below 5,000 as a charity. So we'll keep it that way if possible. Well, we will keep it that way. We don't want to go higher. Right. The next thing is. Sorry.
Ronnie?
Yeah, go on.
Ronnie, you can always make it that you give a donation to a charity like COFIPO or the Java Club, so that you keep yourself below 5,000.
Yeah.
But it keeps people that are used to paying £1 still paying it.
Yeah, another thing we could do is, like we used to do with the FIPO community, is when we had some spare money, we bought a wreath. So we could buy wreaths for... But we're way below that now, so we ain't worrying about that. Now the rules. Trelaw Roses, they are in Australia, and Lucy Campbell, isn't it? Lucy Campbell? Or Judy Campbell? Judy Campbell. Judy Campbell wrote to me from Australia and said they named a rose, and she said if we put in a letter, they might do one if we ask. So I did write in and ask them And they wrote me a letter back saying yes, they'd be interested in the ruse. Can I give them any details? Which I did, and I said Feeple Day ruse for the ruse name Feeple Day, okay, because that would cover August the 15th. Now they've come back and said yes, when they get a new ruse they will get in touch. So that's okay. I don't know when that will be. That could be a year, 2 years, but at least they have got an email from us. So that's that.
Have you ever thought, Ronnie, about David Austin roses?
Yeah,
they're UK based.
Yeah, I sent them an email and I had no reply.
No, typical.
Yeah,
right.
I didn't get any reply at all. So I'm not going to chase it. I mean, I did ask them.
No, it's just demoralising when you do that and people don't bother. Plus the fact, not being unkind, it's the height of bad manners anyway.
Yeah. Well,
even if they reply to you and say,
Yeah. The one interesting thing about David Austin roses is they are actually right next door to the museum at RAF Cosford. Maybe we could try again and suggest, hi Liam, and suggest that they do a link to RAF Cosford, because having taken our group there, as you remember, Keith, there is a fair bit about FIPOs and that there. That maybe we could suggest a link between RAF Cosford and what's there, and naming a rose that David Austin perhaps are producing. Just as a thought, maybe worth trying again.
I'll send another email during the week and see if I get any response. Unless somebody else would like to do an email. To be honest, I have been really busy. That still hasn't eased. I'm still getting loads and loads of emails asking me to add people to the Roll of Honour. So, and I haven't, to be honest, I haven't felt very well. I think us pushing myself too much. Anyway, so the rules is. Does anyone feel like writing them a letter, Barbara?
I'll do it for you.
Yes, please.
I'll do it because I was in touch with them last year. With RAF Cosford. So I'll look up David Austin and I'll put the links in for that. So
if you
I'll do
that. Yeah.
They're evidently, Ronnie, so I found out yesterday, is a clematis called Burma Star, which you can order as a special.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a beautiful purple one.
Yeah. Well,
I'm keeping my eye on that one.
Put that in the charity. The video will go on there in any rate, so people will hear it in any rate. But that's Burma Star, is it?
Yeah, it's a clematis called Burma Star. So I'll see if I can get some details for you.
What colour is it? Do you know?
Beautiful purple colour.
Yeah, it could be nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't we?
Right. So that's that. Matt isn't on at the moment. I don't know if he'll be on, but I was going to have a word because we have had a lot of people ask to invite. They've invited people to join. In the Feeple family, me and Jan keep it fairly tight, and we have got 1,270, over 270 now. So the Feeple family has gone very well. So we've got 1,271. So that's gone really well. But whatever people do not invite people to join the charity one, because I've had about 5 this last week asked to join the charity one, and Matt proposed somebody who isn't even a charity member. So Matt, if you're listening, please don't do that, because I have to write to him and say no, you're declined, which doesn't sound too good. We've had this last few days, Tim has been helping as well on the Tomoko Maru. Tim, yeah, we've been. I started.
That was unusual. Funny that
Yeah.
Must be great minds think alike that we were both working on the same one.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I saw that yesterday.
I was trying to tidy up my database because I was nearly there, but then the discrepancies came in that I'm looking at 795 and the POW research, they've got it to 772. Now, the discrepancy, I don't know where that's going to come from, but Java Party 20...
Join the club.
Yeah, Java Party 20 came from Java to Singapore with 800 POWs. They did glass rods, and 5 of them were found to be infected. So, according to me, there should have been 795 went on the Maya Maru. M-I-Y-U. I take it as Maya. I don't know how you pronounce it.
But Maya, yeah.
Yeah, but they went on the Maya Maru, and we all know that when it got to Philippines, it went from Philippines to Taiwan, and in between that hit a bad storm, which could have been a typhoon, which is some say it is, some say it isn't. But anyway, the Maya Maru was damaged, and the Temuco Maru, which was carrying ore, was loaded up at Taiwan with the Maya POWs. Now, in my estimation, they should have had 795, but according to the POW research, they only had 772. Now, where the others went, I don't know. I don't think there was any deaths on the way, although there could have been, but I haven't seen any.
Retained in Taiwan?
Well, they could have
taken off in Taiwan,
but I've got Americans are okay. For somehow or other, we had 42 Americans, and the POW researcher started off with 42, and in the end, they ended up with 43. So where they gained the extra one, I don't know. But anyway, they gained an extra one. The Australians should have had 267. Now, 267, I've got 249. So I've got a discrepancy there, but it's mainly because the Australians weren't named on the Q report that came with the Java Party 20. So I don't know. I know they came on the Java Party 20 because I've got 235 came on the Java Party 20, but I haven't got any names whatsoever because they weren't recorded on the list. So I don't know if they actually did come on or what the names were, so I could compare them with Fukuoka 14B, because that's where they ended up. The ones that survived the sinking of the Temuco Maru ended up at Fukuoka 14B. Yeah, 14B. Now, then they went from there to Fukuoka 5B. Okay, so there's no record of them although on the Mansell site he said they did go there. He says 200, where in some cases they say 211. So there's discrepancies all over the place, so I don't really know where we are with it. But anyway, if I go by their list, 772, I'm 6 short. But if I go by the list, which I think should have been 795 that went on the Maya Maru, I am quite a few short. But I think that's either there's six Dutch, so I'm 6 Dutch short and 18 Australians. So that's what
Yeah,
I've been
Death on the
doing
Hell Ships. Death on the Hell Ships, Ronnie states 772.
Yeah, the POW research said there's discrepancies with them and that book. So they don't think the book is right. So I to be honest, I think I'm drawing a line there. It's as far as I'm concerned, I'll leave it there, because otherwise I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not getting anywhere at all. Another thing is, when they reached 14B in Japan, a lot of them were very ill and could have died. So I did look up the war cemetery, Yokohama, and there are quite a few there, but of course I can't compare them with who left Singapore because I haven't got no list. So at the moment I'm stuck. So I'm going to leave it there, Tim. All right? Full stop. I'm leaving it there.
Right. Well, I was only looking at the one case for someone that was actually this chap's uncle, and what made me suspicious was he was in Sai-Wan Cemetery in Hong Kong. Well, he wasn't in the cemetery; he was on the memorial.
Yeah, on the memorial.
And I thought, well, if he got to Formosa, and died there, which is what I initially thought had happened, then I suddenly twigged that they'd have a body.
Yeah. But
and he'd be in the cemetery because the Formosan's got moved to
if you have a look on the reverse side,
rather than being on the memorial.
Yeah, but if you have a look on the reverse side of his card, it's
I did. I looked at that as well. Yeah.
Latitude and longitude. So I definitely know he died on the ship.
Got that
and
as well.
It's the same as that other one. Yeah, the other one I got stuck on, and I always use the Commonwealth War Graves as a backup. So I go to the Commonwealth War Graves and check the date of death and did they actually die, because you don't want to put someone in who didn't die. And one of them was Rangoon Memorial, and he definitely died.
Yeah, ridiculous.
So I had two really that were absolutely stupid, that threw me for about an hour trying to work out what went wrong. So the only thing left was to look on the back of the card, get the longitude and look at the latitude, so I knew they definitely died there. It's ridiculous. Anyway, go on, Keith, all yours.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'm just looking at the bits and pieces that you're talking about. That's all, Ronnie.
He's gone.
Well, I'll leave it there.
Driver Party 20.
To be honest, I've been on it.
No. I'm just looking bits and pieces up because it is a bit of a pain. And
well, I started I started that list.
He's only showing us carrying 208 POW.
I started that list about 3 years ago, and I think the best thing to do is say
while you're doing that, Keith, can I butt in and ask Ray a question?
Yeah.
Are you ready, Keith? It's about your book, which I've got, right. And I've got just a query. I noticed there are 2 references to Argyle soldiers or battalions there. Is there much in the book about the Argyle Sutherlanders, or is it just a quick reference to them?
It's just a quick reference.
Right.
Off memory, I think it's RSM Sandy McTavish.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. Yeah.
He was, but there's no. I can't think. There's no other reference detail anyway.
It's just that a friend asked me because her father was Argyle and Sutherland, and she wondered, about buying the book in a rush or waiting a little bit. Can I say I think your book is fabulous, and I love the way that you've done the graphs at the back for the different illnesses and things. That is really good because you can see it visually. It gives a better understanding and appreciation of the numbers there than just having the numbers in front of you, and the variation over time. Yeah. And I really like the fact that you've put the FIPO prayer in there. I think that was a lovely touch that you put that in there.
I thought it was quite relevant. you know,
Yeah,
to
I like
bring
that.
it, to really
Yeah.
sort of make it towards the peoples.
It is, yeah.
And the other thing that I did, Barbara, was I've spelt the word prisoner or prisoners throughout the book with a capital P.
Yeah.
And that's in honour of the prisoners.
It gives them a true status,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Yeah. I agree with you with doing that. Yeah, that's good. I haven't read all of it, obviously, you know, but it was just people who knew I'd got the book were asking me different things about it. Yeah, and really interesting. I thought the one thing that was really interesting was the fact that at the end of the war, or when fighting was going on, and the Japanese were abandoning different articles and machinery like lathes, that the order went out perhaps to ship them back to England because we were short of the equipment. I've never heard any mention of that before. I wonder if they did ship it back. Sorry,
I don't think we know the answer to that. You know, just to put that in context, that the Japanese were retreating further east from Ubon.
Yeah.
Ubon's not far from the border with which was then French Indochina, which is today's Laos. And there's a town just over the border called Paksay. And the Japanese were concentrating quite a lot of their staff there, including a training centre. And they were shipping machinery, including engineering machinery like lathes and drills and so on, and also vehicles from Ubon. So the railway from Bangkok transported all this machinery to Ubon, and then it was transferred over to Paksay. Well, when the war finished, everything was just abandoned at the side of the road. And after the repatriation, there was an officer there called Major Headley, and he was responsible for tidying everything up, because obviously the prisoners didn't just leave Ubon and everything turned back to normal. There was a lot of tidying up to do, and he thought it might be a good idea to rescue this machinery and ship it back to the UK. So he did rescue it. It did go back to Bangkok, but we don't know where it went to after that.
So it may not have reached our shores after all.
We don't know. We don't know.
That was just really interesting, you know, to see that.
I think the Americans might have had something to say about that, because we weren't. I know, really. I don't think the British were seen in such a favourable light as the Americans. With the tides.
I agree with you, Keith. And I think what it was that everybody was suspicious about the British intentions and the post-war settlements. Because Great Britain was a little bit peeved at Thailand for various reasons. They let the Japanese into their country, and as a result, we lost Malaya, Singapore, and Burma. The Thai army were fighting in British-held territory in the Shan states in Burma, and of course they also declared war on us. So we had quite a lot of grievances to sort out, and the Americans were particularly suspicious that we might want to colonise Thailand in the post-war agreement. So you might be right there, Keith. Yeah.
Right, I lost track there. Was that the Thais actually declared war on us?
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, that I didn't know.
They declared war, I think it was the 27th of January 1942, and that in itself is an interesting story, but we won't go down that track at the moment. And the peace settlement was signed on the 1st of January 1946. So that was we were still at war with Thailand when
I think Churchill had his eye on the Isthmus of Kra.
Yeah.
To grab that land because it borders on Burma. And the Americans went, don't even think about it, boy.
Yeah, and they were interested in that because there was a possibility of building a canal.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The Indian Ocean with the Gulf of Thailand. And that, to be honest, that is still an issue. It still raises its head every so often. You know, that's a possibility because it would cut the shipping time between the east and the west by several days.
Yes, it would, wouldn't it?
With China, Hong Kong, and that sort of area. But whether it'll go ahead or not, I don't know. Yeah. So the other thing is that, going back to that machinery, is that if the machinery ended up in Bangkok, that the British transportation was coming from Rangoon. So it would be very difficult to get boats leaving Bangkok for Great Britain, because the boats from Bangkok were going back to Australia, Singapore, and possibly American. So, well, thanks for that.
Can I just ask? Yeah, no, that's fine. I will find time to read some more of it. What you just mentioned, the Kra Isthmus, is that right?
Yeah, Isthmus of Kra, yep.
Do you remember I mentioned that I discovered that there was a Kra Isthmus railway?
Yes.
A few weeks ago.
Yeah.
That was something which amazed me, that they'd actually constructed that railway for the Imperial Japanese, that linking Chumphon to Kra Buri. So I've looked it up. There's one good thing about still not being able to link on via my MacBook Air. I'm still using my phone, which is shaking. I've not been on the drink, honestly. Is that I'm able to look up things that are going along. And I've just looked up about the Kra Isthmus Railway as soon as I heard you that. That was really interesting. I didn't realise that there was another railway.
Rod Beatty told us that years ago at one of the conferences. And one of the POWs I used to know, a guy called Bill Lawson, he was actually working on it, because he was saying that the RAF had learnt lessons from the Japanese in Burma. So this railway was operating. So it was a case of, right, where do we want the train? In other words, the British, where would that train need to be to give us the most usage, which is what the Japanese were saying in Burma. Right, the British have got trains here. Where do we want that train? Do we want it this side of the bridge before we take the bridge out, or do we want it the other side? And the British were doing exactly the same. So the POWs would go out and repair the bridge, and the RAF would knock it down again. And Bill was in one of the camps there. I'd have to look up and see where he was. But he found out that the war had ended. He was actually on the Benjo, and a Thai sort of stuck his head through the ATAT and said, war over. And that was it.
Right. Yeah.
So, he was down there. He was working on that railway.
There's a lot of the stuff that they used on that was, the line was abandoned, and then they used it on the Thai-Burma Railway. It's quite interesting. As I say, I don't recall Rod saying that at the conference, but I probably, because my dad wasn't on the railway, I sometimes
it's I mean, these conferences, there's so much you've got to try and take in. Because he was saying there's a number of, I mean, the railway that interests me, obviously the Thai-Burma Railway. You come down to Bangkok, and then you've got this other railway going up towards Phitsanulok and around there. And it passes through a place called Takli, which is where my father was at the end of the war. So that's of interest as well. And you think, well, there are reports that the POWs were also working on those railways, not just the Thai-Burma one, just to keep them maintained. Because obviously the RAF were given, certainly towards the end of the war, were giving it their complete and undivided attention, shall we say. And the bridge at Phitsanulok, which was a major one, a highway, a railway bridge, and a footbridge, was taken out by the RAF because I've seen the bomb damage report, or bomb damage assessment, sorry, years ago, and I thought, cool, right, they really worked that over.
All right. Sorry about that, but
that's all right. Don't be sorry. It's no. Always ask questions. It's not a problem.
How are you getting on with?
It's just that I heard you mention it.
How are you getting on with Sumatra?
Carry on,
Kevin. How are you getting on with Sumatra?
Sorry, yeah.
How are you getting on with Sumatra?
He dropped off. Wake up, Kevin.
When you come to say Sumatra.
No, it's when it's Thai-Burma Railway Kevin blanks out,
Actually, funny was, that book about the person that was in Peking, and then he went to the Thai-Burma Railway, and he went about the march during the middle of the night. Well, if you remember, we did some work for somebody who's he was actually working on the St Martin Railway, but he was part of that Ejan party. Well, they were sent to work on the roads at Ejan, and it took them 3 days to march from Medan up to there. But when they came back, the force marched them overnight back to Medan. And they told them that it was going to be like a rest and recuperation, but actually they sent them straight onto the St Martin Railway. So they were marching for about 12 hours or something all night through the jungle. So it was very similar to what you were saying about what was in that book.
Have you got a map with the places on it, Kevin Smarter?
It's that Lily Oliver's book. She's got a really detailed map. It's just got all the camps marked up on the actual.
Yeah, that's one I've got to buy. In actual fact, that's down for buying today. I also looked at Henk Havinga's book. I thought, I must get that one, and then saw the price and thought, I'm not paying £100 for a book. Thank you. Yeah, it's expensive, but Lizzie Oliver's one. I'm going to get.
Yeah.
What's the other one? Bamboo. No, Bamboo for Coffins is the other one that's on the list as well.
Yeah. It's available in paperback now, which is about 28,
29 quid. Yeah.
So that's a lot better than for over 100 odd quid it was. But there is another good website. It's called the Death Railway, the Packnaborough Death Railway.
Oh yeah, Jamie Farrell's website.
Yeah, that's quite good as well for information on that. Yeah,
that's got the camps marked out, Ronnie, but with their modern day names.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's got the camps marked out of the Sumatra Railway and the branch line to the coal mine.
Go on, Tim.
Yeah. I think it's an iconic picture on there.
They've got a very that's.
There's the iconic picture of the trains in the middle of the jungle.
Yes.
The jungle growing around it. It's amazing, you think how much it cost to build a train, and then they just left it in the jungle.
Go on, Tim.
Go on, Tim.
But
Go on.
If you look on that site in the videos, they've actually got, it's either a drone or a helicopter flies the route of the railway, and then overlaid on it the camps are marked off, so you can actually see where they were.
He showed that at the conference.
It's an amazing video to watch.
Yeah, is that the one? The one he showed at the conference.
Oh, did he? Right.
He's flying along, and then suddenly you get this great drop because my stomach sort of went because I can't stand heights, and I thought, blimey. Having said that, I walked over the Wempo Viaduct, so when I did that with Rob Beattie, and he said, "You're right, you look a bit green." So I said, "I don't like heights." He said, "Why didn't you say?" I said, "Well, I'm not flying all this way. Get the chance to walk over the Wempo Viaduct and then chicken out." So he said, "Okay, let's go back." So we did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very, very good video. He's done a lot of work, Jamie Farrell. So it might be worth having a look at, Ronnie. I'm sure you've looked at it anyway.
Yeah.
But it's worth a look.
Yeah. The problem is,
I'm going to get Lizzie Oliver's book. So
it's the same problem.
What was that story about?
Yeah, it's the same problem.
Somebody working on one of the bridges on the railway, and he claimed the Japanese said to them, "You've got to climb up there and put creosote on the railway, on the wood that I'd actually just constructed." And he was terrified at heights, and he got so far up and he couldn't move. And the Japanese was like shouting at him to move, and he wouldn't move. He just couldn't. He froze. And the Japanese actually climbed up and got the creosote and threw it on him. And he fell into the river. It was okay, but it was all burnt and all that. Creosote. Oh, terrible. Right?
Yeah, the problem is with that map, though, Keith, is the same as we had with the Burma Railway, is the soldiers tend to pronounce differently. So when you get the report, when you get a report on the Sumatra one, which hasn't had any work done on the names, it's very awkward to find names. I mean, we have got a list. We have got a list of the Burma Railway, but we haven't got on the Sumatra.
I've got a Dutch publication that I will have a look at. That gives some names. And I did have a publication that I got, and I have a feeling it's in the COFIPO archive at Orewas. It was a booklet done when they opened the Sumatra Railway Memorial, and that lists the camps. So when I can get back into the NMA and back into the building, I will certainly see if I can get hold of that and take a photograph of the page.
Yeah, if you can, that'll be handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'll just make a note of that, because the single cell has trouble remembering things these days.
Yeah. Well, I had one during the week, and that wasn't on the COFIPO site, but they had the liberation questionnaire, and they sent it to me, and that took me about an hour to sort the names out. You know, that nothing like the names we call them now, but of course the way they pronounce them, they wrote them down.
Yeah.
And we all write them. You know, I'm Norfolk, of course, so we write ours down differently to somebody up north. And you haven't noticed I'm Norfolk.
No, not really.
No.
Keith, as the NMA is now opening on a slightly reduced basis, will the COFIPO hut be open?
No.
Because we're going there on the 17th of this month, because that would have been my dad's 100th birthday.
No, we've been told, according to what the NMA have said to us, the FIPO hut will not be open. And if you think about it logically, and I urge people to do this, I'm sorry, I don't give a shit. Oh, sorry. I don't give a damn what the government says. We should still be socially distancing.
Yep.
As far as I'm concerned,
You
cannot do it in the building.
You know, you're.
And I think the
I
trustees.
wondered about it as you mentioned it.
I think the trustees will be totally against it, really on a safety thing. But it's just the NMA have said no, it won't be open.
But as I say, we have booked to go on that day because of it being Dad's centenary.
Yeah,
and I thought, well, that would be a nice way, and I should take him, he's across to leave. And I just wondered, out of interest, if you'd heard whether it was opening or not.
Not as far as I know. It's on their latest release. They say it won't be open. You can go around the grounds. So the land train will not be open. Guided walks will not take place. Guided talks will not take place, which is a shame because they were doing one on the Burma campaign. That's a blow. But okay, it's strange times. You have to adapt.
Well, I just feel lucky that I can go on that.
Yes. I mean, I'd love to go back up there again, and I'd like to say, can I have the key to the building, please? So, there's a couple of bits I want to.
Have you not photograph. Been onto there? Did they not email you to tell you when it was open?
Yes, they have. Yeah. So I've got to go back and say, what's the chances of? And see what they say. If they say, "Well, I'm sorry, Keith, no exceptions," then that's fine with me. I'm not going to argue because I don't agree that you make exceptions in these cases.
Oh no, not in these times, no.
No, but when I know it's going to be open, I'll let the group know. Most definitely. And as regard,
I'm hoping that maybe if we asked as members of COFIPO or something, that maybe if this continues, then and we can get a pre-booking. I might ask when we go there on that day actually, whether those of us who have got connections to the FIPOs, whether we could be given priority bookings over the 15th or 16th, to see whether we can go, because obviously it would be great if we could go for that day.
Yeah, I've yet to hear what's going to happen. We don't know. I mean, I was asked yesterday, would I attend on the 15th by the trustee, one of the trustees. We were having a political conversation. I said, well, bearing in mind I'm not over the moon about public speaking, but I have to do it. What is envisaged? Because I'm sorry, if you're thinking of crowds, forget it. There's no way I'm putting myself at risk.
I don't think they would allow crowds in because, as I say, they're very careful the way they're booking these visits anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if you
get your time to go as well.
Yeah,
and if you turn up early, they won't let you in. And
I don't know what they're planning for the 15th. So all I can do is ask the question, and see what they say. It's I mean, we're planning here to have a street party sitting at the end of our drives again, like we did for VE Day.
Yeah.
So I think it might be something similar to that. But I'll ask. I would have thought the answer was if they would be sympathetic. But there again, don't forget you've got Burma Star.
Yeah.
So they've got every right to be there.
Yes.
And I've not heard anything from them at all. But I'll ask the question. August 15th in MA. I doubt if the building will be open.
Keith.
No.
Yeah.
Again, for the foreign tournament.
Right,
I
Sophie.
didn't realise that the NMA was reopening.
Sorry.
I said I didn't even realise that the NMA was reopening.
We only got the email Thursday telling you that they were open for booking Friday for visits on Monday.
Could one of you be kind enough to forward that me, please?
Yeah, can do. What's your email?
Martin Horwell at Yahoo.
Horwell, HORWELL, yeah?
Yeah, at
yahoo.co.uk.
Indeed. You should have it. You've sent me before, Keith, so you might already have it.
Yeah, just in case I haven't.
Right,
Always have a plan B.
Sophie, you've been doing some research on your dad. You found out he was in France.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have. So, in talking to Ray as well earlier in the week, and one of my friends who was also in my team at work but isn't now, who's also written his own book, a write-up of his grandfather's diary. So we had a really good chat about that. But looking into my dad's records, I could see that he was also in France from early February until around mid-June 1940. So it looks like he was there as well. And looking at the dates, he was in doing a bit of research and talking to Ray about it. That was actually after Dunkirk. So, and it was Le Havre, wasn't it? Ray, and I think he was one of the people who were lucky enough to get out.
Yeah, Sophia, I've been doing
there were several places that
France in 1940, but he was part of what they called the Star Force, and that was the most right-hand side of the British and Allied forces. It was actually just behind the Maginot Line. And when the Germans invaded through the Ardennes, it actually cut them off from the rest of the British Expeditionary Force, and it was all part of the 52nd Highland Infantry. And they had to then retreat across France at the same time as the Germans were actually going across France, heading towards the coast. The Germans reached the coast before the 52nd Highland Infantry could get out, so they were then forced to try and head towards Le Havre. But my father's company, which was the RAOC, he actually escaped via Brest. They went completely west to the west, to where Brest is. But there was also a second British Expeditionary Force that actually landed there, and their plan was to go with the remaining French to fight against the Germans. Yeah. But the commander said, well, this is a complete waste of time. So what they did is they evacuated the whole lot of them, and they all went out. It was called Operation Ariel. And all them men escaped, but the 52nd Highlanders, they were like as a rear guard, if you like. And they got cut off themselves, and they ended up heading towards Le Havre. Some got out, but obviously some were captured on the beach. So he might have been part of that.
Yeah, so his record has him, it marks the date as 13th of June, arriving back in Southampton.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I liked your reference, Sophie, to the cycle. Operation Cycle.
Yeah, I looked it up, and it said between the 10th and 13th of June. That was named Operation Cycle. So, it was interesting. I didn't know.
Yeah, but was that Ray will not know more about this? Was that getting back to Dunkirk on their own steam, Operation Cycle? That sounds.
I don't know. I'm not aware of that.
It was all to do with the evacuation of the men that couldn't get to Dunkirk.
No, that's further down the coast.
Yeah, further down the coast. Like the Germans got to the coast on the 20th, 19th, sorry, and they took Boulogne on the 20th. So anybody who was below that line, if you like, they had to try and get out as best they can. There's a say some went out to Le Havre. But as I say, the regiment my father was on, he actually went right across France and got out in Brest.
We've got Bernard. All right, Bernard.
Hi, Bernard.
Hello.
Can you hear us, Bernard?
I forgot about the time, Ron.
Oh,
Bernard.
Oh, of course you're in Wales, aren't you? Because you're an hour behind us, aren't you?
Oh, God. Wait, you overslept?
Yeah,
Overslept again?
No. I've been up since really early. I was fiddling about with something else.
How are you now? Are you okay? Is your insulin okay? Bernard, can you hear? No, he can't hear.
I'm with Ron.
No, he's having trouble with his insulin. Oh, and Bernard's wife. Oh, Bernard's wife.
We're waving to you, Edith.
We've got Martin's wife as well. You know? Right. Martin, have you been doing any research at all, or?
Well, I've actually been working with Tom Jowett, who you may know.
Yeah.
We've actually found out quite a lot using the Imperial War Museum. There's a lot of documents down there, particularly covering their way through Perth and what happened with certain government officials. And we've also made contact with a guy in Holland that is looking at the Macassar camp quite in depth. And you can take it as good news, you can take it as just a fact. I've got to say I take it as the first. The 16th of May 1947 was an excellent date. They actually shot a guy called Yoshida, who was responsible for a lot of the beatings up within the camp, including one guy he took for 200 with a baseball bat. In the end, pushed him over. His timing there was absolutely excellent, by the way. He actually gave up trying to beat him up, and the only reason why the guy was being beaten up was he was found smuggling food into the camp, but it wasn't for himself, it was for one of his mates that was very, very sick. But we've found out so much. If you want a real in-depth knowledge on it, I would suggest you contact Tom, because Tom has got reams, as this one here will tell you.
He's very informative. He's very interesting. He's done a couple of talks that I've been to. I'm not that interested. I will hold my hand up and say, but my goodness, he talks with a passion. He really does.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like Martin's father. It's his father. So yeah, really, really interesting, sad, informative. You know, so yeah, well worth listening to or getting in contact with him.
Yeah. Is Tom Jarrett's in our group, isn't he?
I am.
He might be. I'm not sure. He's never been on. He's never been on one of these.
No, not on the charity one. I meant on the Feepo family one.
Feepo family. Yeah, it should be. Sure, he's posted on there before.
He's giving up on Facebook, I think, which doesn't help.
Name rings a bell.
No,
yeah. Anything for the boys.
It's JLW, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, JLW.
Jarrett.
Yeah, he is a member.
He joined.
As
in the old car in the
2018.
1950s, Ronnie.
Sorry?
As in the Jowett Javelin. As in the Jowett Javelin car.
Yeah.
Jowett spelt the same way.
Yeah. No,
you can remember that. You're as old as I am.
He joined 2018, so he is in the Feeble Family one.
Oh, he would be.
Not in the charity one. No, he has been on there quite a bit because he does, Martin, he does now and again give some information, doesn't he? To be honest, we're doing quite well with researchers. I mean, we've got ourselves, and we've got Tom Jarrett, got Jonathan Moffat. We've got quite a few. Tony Banham, Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And what I'll have to do is I'll have to put
Andrew Snow.
Yeah, Andrew Snow, for the Thailand. So we have got quite a few. What I'll have to do is I'll have to get the members who have written books and put that in the book club, because we are getting quite a few members who are authors now who wrote books. So, well, I'll have to do that because the trouble is you don't want to do it in a hurry because you might miss somebody out. So I'll take my time and I'll take my time and do it. But Keith, you could give me a hand with that. If you can, Keith, if you can start writing some down.
I'm trying to ignore you.
Yeah, I thought you would. If you can write some down, the members that have written books, I'll write some down to send, and we'll make sure we cover everyone. Because honestly, I'm sure we're going to. I'll miss one out.
I will do. Have you got a membership list of FIPO family?
Well, the FIPO family, I haven't got a list as such, but you can see them on there, can't you? If you go into members, I don't know if you can see them. I can see them, but I don't know if you can.
It may be because you're the adjudicator. I'll have a look and let you know. FIFO family.
Yeah, but I want.
You can add one already.
All the books.
That is Tom, and he's done one that's called "What Did Grandad Do in the War?" It's unpublished at the moment.
Can you? Let's put the list on the charity side. Okay, I'll put up members who written books, and can you write it underneath, Martin and Keith, so I can get the list, the full list, and if you can write
I'm not sure whether I'm actually on the charity one, but yes, I'll have a look.
Yeah, okay.
Don't you go on the charity one, Martin?
I don't know whether I even found it.
Oh,
ironically.
But if you put FIPO charity in the top on your FIPO page, you should come across it, and then join. I'll send you an invite. Carry on talking. I'm just doing an invite.
Right, Sophie, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions.
Yeah.
One, is there anybody in the charity group or the wider FIPO family group that is able to translate what it says on the index cards?
Yeah, we have got one on the FIPO family.
Yeah.
He's been translating them quite well.
He's been doing very,
I can't
very
pronounce
well.
his name, but he's been doing them.
Yeah.
So if you have a look on the FIPO family,
And quite a lot.
you'll see him on there. I can't pronounce his name.
No, I know it begins with a T. That much I do know.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I'll have a look. And then
he will.
Members.
Tan.
The other question I had was
Tan it is.
on the liberation questionnaires.
Yeah.
What I've got.
There is in a box at the top that's been stamped. There is a number, and I've noticed that on my dad's that says list 49, and it's also on his record. I just wondered whether that has any significance, because when I looked at the people that came out of the Ubon camp, a lot of them were in the same list, because I just had a quick look just out of curiosity, and I thought, did that have any significance according to
the very quick answer is I'm not sure. When you say it's on his records, whereabouts?
Yeah,
because I'm wondering if these, we believe these questionnaires, we believe these questionnaires were filled in on the ship's home.
Yeah.
Each of those ships had a roster. believe it or not, which we can't find, and each roster was numbered.
So that's why I wondered if it had.
I'm wondering whether, Block 49 might be roster 49, which you might be able to pin down.
I wondered. So I started to go through, and actually, not all, but a lot of the people that were in Ubon were on list 49, and I thought, does that then have a link back with the ship they were on? It was just an avenue that I wanted to sort of look at, because it may help to, if you can identify somebody who, through the records that they
I'll have a look at. The way to test it.
It's in a box.
I know it's got block number.
So
if I have a look at my father's and compare it to see what's on his record, then perhaps it might give us a clue.
Have you got a pen handy?
It might be circumstantial. I don't know, because there's no way of proving it these days, unfortunately. But it might just pry open a little door.
Have you got a pen handy, Sophie? Sophie, have you got a pen handy?
Sorry?
A pen handy. You got a pen handy, Ron?
I have. Yeah, I've got a whole pot of pens.
It's TAN. Space DING. XIANG. And he doesn't speak completely the old language, does he?
Well, he's doing a blooming good job.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job. He does now and again. He doesn't know something.
No.
But if you ask him, he'll definitely do it. He's very good at it, and he's ever so helpful.
Yeah,
he seemed very.
I mean, I got my cards. I got my dad's card translated by the Embassy of Japan. That sounds funny, but I got a very, very nice letter back.
I got a letter during the week.
Okay, well, I'll try this first.
I got a letter during the week from the embassy ambassador of Japan. He wrote me a letter asking me about a people. I thought, well, this is a bit strange. But I checked, and it was definitely him.
You'll find. Yeah, you'll find, Ronnie, that people are using all sorts of avenues if they, to try and get information.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, he's a Japanese prisoner. Oh, the Japanese would know. Actually, no. They will actually ask for information. But at least he had the decency to ask for the information. Good luck to him.
Yeah, that was, that was quite a polite letter. That was quite polite.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. The letter I got back was very polite.
Right.
Can I just ask a general question? Sophie, your father's ship that he returned back to England on landed in, was it November the 9th, something like that?
Yeah, November the 9th.
Yeah. As a general question, were there many more repatriation ships after November the 9th, or was that the last one?
No, there were more.
Yeah, my dad didn't get back home until February 46.
Yeah, there were more.
Right.
Maidstone got back on December the 8th, if that helps you, Ray.
No, what I'm thinking is a bit like Sophie's question, is that if there were more Ubon POWs on that ship, it could be that because Ubon was one of the last camps to be repatriated, I was just thinking that maybe the batch of Ubon prisoners were, one of the last batch. But if there was more ships after that, then that's not true. But they could all stick together. I mean,
no. My friend's grandfather came home on the Corfu. I'm sure he did, but I'll have a look. I'll have a look at the forms, see what I can. I'll have a look at my dad's form and see if I can make any sense of it. Sophie, good question.
Yeah, not all of them had the same number, so I figured.
No, they won't do. They won't do. In actual fact, you will find. I uncovered, and I think I've got the photo somewhere, so it'd be an idea to put it on. Well, we have to be very careful because it's original documentation from a lieutenant colonel on the Monowai, which was one of the first hospital ships home, saying that the men were absolutely, watch my language again, fed up with filling in questionnaires when they'd answered all these questions before with RAPWE. Where's the RAPWE files? Another one we don't know. Have they been destroyed? Could well have been. You know, it's. I don't think the government departments tended to look on history now or then as we do now. So if those documents have been destroyed, it's been destroyed in a clear out, and there were a number of clear outs. You know, a case of somebody in charge walking around the warehouse at Hayes and saying, right, those 200 boxes there, yeah, dump them. But sir, dump them. Don't look at them, don't question it, dump them. Keith, and that's been going on for some time.
What's the acronym for RATWING? What is that? Sorry.
Repatriation of Allied prisoners of war and internees.
Right.
Or if you weren't repatriated quick enough, it's retain all prisoners of war indefinitely.
Right. Okay. The reason I was asking was that we've found out that the Australian records are quite good.
Yes.
Compared to the UK stuff.
Yeah, they are.
There's a lot in there. So that is another source that we've been using. Tom's got a friend down in the museum in Canberra.
And they're on.
And that's got a hell of a lot of info.
And they're online a lot more.
Say again, sorry.
They're online a lot more, Tim said.
Yeah, they are. But the Imperial War Museum has got a lot of stuff.
They're also a lot more online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they say the Imperial War Museum's got a lot of stuff hidden away, but you've got to go and hunt it out. I mean, say some of the documentation we've found has been very much an eye-opener. You know, it really does make you stop and think. It's like the guys that were supposed to meet people at Perth, they all walked away, except for the Royal Navy. You know, but the diplomats just walked. And there's this secretary's view of it, her diary, if you like, of what was said, what was seen, what was done, how the Aussies walked in and helped. Not the mayors and what have you of Perth. They all walked as well. It was the locals that went in there. But it's finding this information. And as I say, that would be one of the recommendations.
Mm. Right, that's been a good meeting. We've gone past the hour. So is it okay if I turn the record off, everyone? Yeah. Record.
Yep.
Now going off.